There we go. So MoxiEngage, it is part of our suite of products. We have MoxiEngage, which is our CRM, like we mentioned, MoxiPresent, which is our CMA, our competitive market analysis tool, and then it also runs our websites for us as well. Plus, we have our single sign-on opportunity with our hub. So real quick before we jump into Engage, I just want to shout out your account settings, because these account settings do follow through on all of those products. It does show up in your Present, your Engage, and on your website. So when you first log into Moxie, depending on where you're coming from, if you're coming from the schmidtresources.com link, you will link right into Present. And your options for your menu are always going to be up here at the top. And then if you need to get to your account, which is the view that I'm in the upper right corner, you click your headshot or your outline if you haven't loaded a headshot, and you want to click on My Account. So this is where you can ensure that your headshot is correct, your contact information is correct, and your bio is correct, because this will again show up on the products available to you in Present, Engage, and your websites. When you first come on with us, your agent onboarding person, whether it's your RSC or your agent onboarding specialist, does put this information in for you if they have it at the time that you onboard. If not, you can always go back through and update the information. So your headshot can be found here. If you don't have one, or if you'd like to change one, you click on the camera and it will let you upload your new headshot. If you click the pencil right here, that is your edit button. That will jump into your screen where you have the option of updating any of these three tabs. So your web info is your bio. This is also where you can link through to any of your social media sites that you may also operate with. And again, that'll show up on your websites. It'll show up in any presentations that you're creating or any of the campaigns that you're sending out through Engage. Your contact information is here. Your primary email is what will show up to the general public. Your primary email is your login information. Your display email is what will show up to the general population, and then your backup email should be different. So in case you need a password reset or such, you can utilize that. And then your phone information here, direct mobile, maybe you have an alternate fax machine, and then your personal information. I have myself turned off for visible because I don't sell, so I don't need to show up on the website. So that is shut off, but all three of these for you should be turned on. This is where you can update your name if you choose to. You can put designations for yourself. Your title will come through on what status you have as a security level. So if you're an agent on the call with us, you'd be notated as agent. If you're a manager, you would be manager. And if you're other staff, you would be staff. Your internal agent ID, that should be your coldwellbanker.com login email address. So for me, it's my first.last at coldwellbanker.com. And that helps with our single sign-on opportunity, which I'll show you in a minute. Any languages that you may have, you can add your license number. You don't have to. None of the states in which we operate mandate that, but it is an opportunity if you would like. And then when you do change anything, in the upper right corner, you just want to make sure that you click Save. So if you've joined us before on these trainings, or if you choose to join us in the next 201 session, we always go over those account settings because they are important, as they do drive that data across all of the platforms here in Moxie. You always get that little guide there that tells you, yep, absolutely, you've updated it successfully, good job. So before we jump into Engage, we are going to talk about the hub. So the hub is our single sign-on opportunity that links out to our other tech tools. And the reason why we want to make sure that internal ID is there is because it does ensure that we are able to automatically log into CB Desk, CBC, so if you are operating in the commercial world, and D-Signs. There's also an integration with Listings to Leads, if you're in Michigan and Ohio with dotloop, and if you're in Florida, @Files. Plus, we link through to our preferred vendors with This Is Our List. You can get to the virtual open house submission form here. We record all of our Moxie training and we have it in a playlist here. And then we embedded Schmidt Resources right here in the Moxie site. So your hub on Moxie really is a one-stop shop. Now, it is meant to be referred back and forth. You can launch into Moxie from schmidtresources.com, or you can log into schmidtresources.com via the Moxie site. So we like to put this information in as many places as we can so it's readily available to you. If you go to click on CBC Desk and it does not automatically log you in, simply reach out to your ASC or RSC and they'll be able to help you get that done. And again, that is on our hub. So we are going to be talking about Engage today. So let me just pull up my notes to make sure that I am not missing anything. So when you first log into Engage, you're going to ignore what you're seeing on my screen here. This is the manager's login. I'm going to go over to agent mode. So this is your Engage dashboard. So again, this is a CRM, a client relationship management tool. This really helps you stay on top of your sphere of influence so that you can continuously converse with them, so that you can continuously stay in front of them. The average typical American knows anywhere from 7 to 8 real estate agents. That's a lot. So when your sphere of influence is ready to transact, when they're ready to raise their hand and say, I'm thinking about buying, I'm thinking about selling, my hairdresser mentioned buying, my child's teacher's thinking about selling, you're the first person that comes to mind. So that's why our client relationship management tool is based on our sphere of influence marketing, and that's why this is such a good product for you in your business. It really is meant to help keep you top of mind to your sphere, so when they're ready to transact, you're top of mind. So you can see that the data in mine is just test data. It's false people. It's just meant here for training, but this dashboard really is meant to be like your personal assistant. Log into MoxiEngage every morning. It'll give you 5 people that you should reach out to. It will also link seamlessly to your Gmail calendar, whether you're operating CB Great Lakes, gmail.com, CB Schmidt, Ohio, CBSMFL, CB Paradise. All of those sync emails can be utilized in MoxiEngage. Hotmail, Yahoo, any of those other emails, unfortunately, cannot sync through to MoxiEngage. If you have any sync problems, if you have any sync questions, if you're in Moxie and you click on Engage and you get a sync error, please reach out to your ASC and RSC. We just have to get with the support team, have them make your sync email a correct Gmail account, and then you'll be able to sync through. The important part of having that sync email be your active email that you use is because not only does your calendar sync over, your contacts sync over too. So you load your contacts into your Gmail account, whether it's the one the company provides you or if it's a gmail.com email address that you've used, those contacts will automatically come into MoxiEngage in the people section. And I'll show you that here in a minute on how to accomplish that. But let's talk through the dashboard here real quick. So as I mentioned, the first thing is your stay at flow. So it gives you 5 people to reach out to every day. And let me tell you, anybody that you sit down, your managers, your training, your coaches, if you reach out to 5 people every day, you will be a successful real estate agent. So you have the opportunity of right from here is you can get their address to mail them a note. You can call them right from the system. It gives you their phone number. You can send them an email. You can sign them up for neighborhood news, which we'll talk about in a moment, or you can sign them up for a campaign. Or if it's maybe your dentist and you just had a cleaning yesterday, so you talk to them and you don't feel that you need to reach out to them, if you click skip, it's going to give you another person. So just 5 people a day. And you have the opportunity to tell the system what type of people you want to contact. So when you click on the cog up here next to stay flow, you can choose the cadence of how often you want people to show up into your flow. Maybe your sphere of influence is smaller if you're a newer agent, so you want to touch them more frequently. You can choose 30 days. And as we talk through the categorize wizard, we will talk about these options here, but you can choose for not to have past buyers pop up. Maybe you have them on a different plan. So you can choose to have those people not show up in your flow. Further to having that customization, all of these topics, whether it's your calendar, your to-do list, your activity feed, these can all be rearranged. So maybe when you log in the morning, the first thing you want to see is your calendar. You want to know what you got going on so you can make sure that you can make those 5 calls and not have another appointment you need to run out to. So all of these can be rearranged there, depending on how you operate on your business. So you can see your calendar is here, which does sync over from your Gmail. As you start sending out neighborhood news or listing subscription emails, when your clients click on those show up here. So that can be also a very good way to make sure that you give those people a call. Maybe they open the neighborhood news. You'll give them a call, say, hey, I saw you open the neighborhood news. Do you have any questions for me? Are you interested in selling? Do you know somebody that's in the market and interested in showing? So that can be a really good feature there. You can add to-do lists. So like I said, this is really meant to be a personal assistant. You can put to-do lists in here so that you can mark off your task list as well. I'm more of a sticky note person, and I get myself in trouble when I'm traveling. So I really highly recommend doing some sort of electronic task list. And then like we mentioned, when you set your goals, you can actually track your people through those sales flows from marketing to prospects to actives to pendings to reach towards your goal. The system will be able to tell you that if this is your GCI goal, this is how many people you should have in marketing, this is how many prospects you should have, this is how many actives you should have, and this is how many pendings you should have. So it really does help track you to your goal, which is also shown right here. So if you're a super goal-oriented person, you may want to move that right to the top. So every day when you log into your MoxiEngage, you can see what your goal is. Your managers can also see your goals. So when they're helping you business plan, they can log in and see where you're at as well. Because as I mentioned, as soon as you transact in your local MLS, that data feeds over to Moxie. So your closings will automatically come over, no data entry for you, and it will track towards your goal with you. So that is all here on the dashboard. So again, we're in Engage, and we start on the dashboard here. We're going to come back to the people. We're going to switch over to the goals. So as I mentioned, we talked about our goals. The 2022 window is now open. So if you've not been in here, I highly recommend you go in and set your goal for 2022. To do so, we go from the dashboard over to our goals. And then the first time when you click on that, it's going to pop up a box and let you set your goals. If you've already set it, so you want to go back and change it, tweak it, see what you may have put, you want to click on the cog in the upper right corner and click on GCI goal. Depending on how long you've been with us, we launched Moxie here at the Schmidt Family of Companies in 2019. So that's the first year that we have here. You can see 2021 is our now active year, but 2022 is right here. So again, this tracks for GCI, your commission, your gross commission income is what tracks. The system doesn't know anything about company dollar or your split. It's simply what your GCI is for your transaction. So say you sold a $200,000 property, you had one side, the commission was 3%. That 3% is what's going to track here in the system. So you can go ahead and put your GCI goal in there and click done. And that is what's going to track to your goal for 2022. So you can see on the goals page, not only does it track your goals, it also gives you your details. How many were buyers? How many were sellers? What's your average time to close? What's your average sales rate? What's your close rate? Maybe you had a pending that fell through, so that's not going to go through on your close rate. And then it lists out the details of those transactions as well. Not only does it do it for closed transactions, it does it for active and pendings, who your prospects might be that you've notated as a prospect, deep dives into that GCI forecast, and then we'll give you comparable averages that pits you against the agents in your office. So you can see how you're tracking to your coworkers as well. So this goals tab really is to help keep you focused on what your goals are for yourself for the calendar year. Again, you can always go back and tweak. So click the cog, click GCI goal. That can always be changed. So maybe you just had a really great year and it's June and you've hit your goal and you want to give yourself a stretch goal. You can do that anytime you want to by going back there. Maybe 3% just isn't typical where you transact, where your market is. Maybe typical is 2.5. If you come back to the cog and go to commission rate, you can change that to 2.5 if you want to. Because again, the system is taking that closing from the MLS, it's taking the closed price that was put in, and it's calculating it off that commission rate. Each individual listing can be updated as well as it transacts, but if you want it to automatically come in and be in that ballpark range, you can change your standard commission rate right here in the cog. So pretty good stuff. So again, we're in Engage. We first showed you the dashboard, which is kind of like your personal assistant, helps you stay in flow, helps you keep touch with your sphere of influence. And then we walked over to goals. The calendar is embedded here, but there is also the opportunity to get it from here as well. So again, this comes over from your Gmail, which you operate in, whether it's CB Great Lakes, CB Schmidt, Ohio, CBSMFL, CB Paradise, or at gmail.com. Any of those options can sync over into Engage. But again, if you click on Engage right here and it gives you a sync error, please feel free to reach out. We can absolutely get that fixed for you. So there's two ways to add people. When you go into people and go into my people, or add people right there. So a couple different opportunities here. So let's just go into my people first. So the first thing, the most immediate thing that you want to do in order to get your sphere of influence into the system to start being able to utilize it to help you market to them is get them into the system. The easiest way to do that is to bulk upload those contacts into your Gmail. Those will automatically sync over. So not only are you adding them into your new Gmail, whether it's the one that we provide to you or the one you're already operating, automatically is going to sync to Engage. So it's going to be in both places. So you can see here, I have all of these contacts, 6,402. I did not individually add them. You can individually add them, but you do not have to. So to do that is you actually go to your Gmail, and you go into your contacts, click create contact and create multiple contacts. This will allow you to upload a CSV file, an Excel sheet if you will, of all your contacts. So if you're new to the company, the first thing you want to do is just start creating that contact list. Maybe you have some in an old email, maybe you have some in a personal email, maybe you have some from your kids' PTO contact list. Get them all into one spreadsheet, and then we're able to upload them into Gmail. And then once they're in Gmail, again, they automatically sync over to your Engage, to your My People. The good thing is too, is any of the groups that you have in your Gmail. So if you have email groups that you send out maybe notifications to your family, so maybe you have a family one, maybe you have a past client one, whatever it might be, these labels or groups automatically come over into Engage as well. So you can see it's those same labels that were in my Gmail also come over to Engage. So it can be a really good way to stay organized. Further, you can organize all of your people by where they're at. I'm sorry, I'm in the filters. Let me get into a client. So further, not only can you give them that label that you have in Gmail, but you can also notate them as a past buyer, past seller, or if they're in the marketing portion of their sales flow. So going back to results, all of those different ways that you can organize your clients will help you market to them properly. So let's just add a person manually. So we do want to do that bulk upload. If you have any problems in that process, just reach out. We can all help you do that. And we're going to actually add a person now. So if you're not quite ready to add your contacts, you're still getting your sphere of influence list together, you're not real sure exactly who all you want to include or how you want to organize them, but you want to start in the system, individually add somebody. Sometimes a spouse, child, mom, dad, cousin, acquaintance. It can be really good just to add somebody in here so that you can start utilizing the system. So clicking add people will bring up the contact card. So you can put in as much or as little as you want. First name, last name. You can give it that label name right here. If you're going to like Mr. and Mrs. so-and-so or you know, the estate of, maybe it's somebody that runs an estate. So you can put that in there. You can add their phone numbers, multiple email addresses, home address. You can put in, if they instant message, as much as you want to or as little as you want to as well. You can add a relationship if you choose. Maybe it is your brother that you're sending this to. Any of these, but you also have that custom. And then you can link through to their social media if you want to. And then this is where you can start designating them. So a collaborator really is that person that probably is never going to buy a house from you. It's somebody that works in title, or your mortgage person, or maybe it's your CPA, or somebody that does your taxes that isn't a CPA. Those are really collaborators. Personal would be your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, nieces and nephews, but we still want to market to them, right? Nothing is more infuriating than hearing about your cousin's neighbor sold their house and they never called you. Super upsetting when that happens, right? So it is important to use this for all of your sphere of influence. But because you can notate if they're personal, you can market to them in a different way so that you do stay top of mind to them when they hear real estate, but you're doing it in a slightly different way than you would a past buyer or past seller, which you can also notate here as well. And then for any managers or staff on the call, there is a recruit button as well. But for the agents on the call, you would want to designate them as one of these. So in the essence of time, I'm not going to add one. I'll hit cancel. Once you go back in that, we've clicked add people, which you can get to here as well. We were in my people at first. This is the other option. So to go back, we have our dashboard. We have our people, my people. So again, this does bring all of those labels over from your Gmail. You can filter your view however you want. If you're looking for one particular person, you can type in the name and that will come up. It gives you that information. You can immediately do some things right from here. You can log activity or send them an email right from this view, just like you could on the dashboard. So there's ease of use here on this system. And you can see this particular person who's another staff member of ours. He's great. I use him as a test case. So he has 3 labels here. So you can see quickly without even launching into his contact card, you can see what's going on with this particular client. The overview is going to tell you again how many people are in marketing, how many people are prospects. And again, that's from your notation. You notate those people that way. And then just like that stay in flow, that gives you 5 people. If you further want to do sphere of influence marketing, it does give you recommended actions for these people. You can always click skip or you can click subscribe. That again is just a way to market to your sphere. When you click subscribe, you can add them to the neighborhood news quickly, which I'll dig into that here in just a little bit, right from that screen without even going into their contact card. So you can see ease of use to get these get the information out to your sphere, which is what we want, can be easily done. And again, if you want to go through the recommended actions, but you're like, nope, that's just a test person, I'm going to skip him. You skip him, somebody else will come in. So that's one more way to go through quickly and add some of these subscriptions to your people. You can also use the categorize wizard, which can be nice, especially after you are ready to do a sync with your Gmail and you are bringing over 100 or 1,000 clients. From the My People screen, you can click categorize wizard. And instead of having to go into each individual contact card, it's going to give it to you on one screen. So you can quickly say client or non-client. So, okay, so it's non-client. Well, is it personal? Is it a collaborator? Or do you want to just completely remove them? Maybe it was just a test email that you tried. Maybe it was spam that accidentally became a contact in your Gmail, so it came across. You can remove them from Engage right here. Again, collaborator would be probably anybody in the business, mortgage, title, insurance, painters, and personal is personal. But again, keep in mind, you still want to market to them so that you stay top of mind for referrals or if they ever are ready to transact. Or if you choose to choose client, you can click qualify this lead, make seller prospect, or make buyer prospect. So when you click qualify this lead, you can call them a past seller, a past buyer, a past seller and buyer, or none of these. So you have a lot of different options. And how you notate in this category wizard is how you can add them to different marketing campaigns. It's how you can communicate with them if you're setting up different campaigns and email notifications, which we'll go through some of those soon. But this category wizard is really important on the front end once you do dump all your contacts in here so that you can quickly go through and categorize those so that you can really start using the Engage system in the way that it was intended. If you categorize them in those labels on the Gmail end of it before it syncs over into Engage, then that's okay too. You don't have to go through the category wizard if you choose not to. So back to My People. You can see if we click back on that filters, and here is where you can get to that categorize wizard. If we click back on our filters, all of those labels that came across from our Gmail, and then all of those tags that when we go through, we can notate those on those categorize wizard. You can filter these by any of those, and that's going to help you market to them. And again, when you launch into one of them, it's going to notate it right there on what they are and where they are in that sales flow. You can always make that person a prospect when you want to, when you're ready to, but you can always leave them as a non-client as well. This will give you a task list once you do make them a marketing or prospect or an active. It does pull over tasks. You don't have to do these. You can change these if you want to. You can put in customized tasks. And then you can make that your standard template for your customized tasks. If you like the standard ones that are in there, but you want to add another one to a particular person, you can always add a task as well. So this will really help you stay on point and where you're at in that relationship with that person. Now, again, these are more for obviously people that are actively in the market and not so much those non-clients or personal or collaborators. So that's why once you do move them into the marketing pipeline, it is important to follow those tasks so that you make sure that you're communicating with them, in which will keep you top of mind for them. If you would like to remove one, you click the down arrow. You can click manage if you want to edit it. Done if you've already done that task. You can also get to the edit screen here. And if you click more, you can actually add it to your calendar so that you will remind yourself. And again, it syncs to your Gmail. So it'll sync to your Engage calendar. It'll sync to your phone calendar. It'll sync to your Gmail calendar as long as you're operating all within that one particular Gmail account. If you don't like that task, you can simply click delete and it'll go away. If you ever want to get back and see what that client is doing, you can go to activity. It'll tell you anything that the system sent. So have you set them up on neighborhood news? Have you sent them up on new listings? Have you sent them a campaign? All of that is tracked in activity. You can also create custom activity. So maybe you ran into them at the grocery store and they told you they had a new grandbaby and you want to notate that. So you can do met in person, met at Olson's, which is a local grocery store here in Traverse City, mentioned they are having a grandbaby. You can do the date and time. So maybe you do your upkeep once or twice a week. So maybe this was 3 days ago. You can notate that on your calendar and then click done. And that is going to show up in your activity. So if you're getting ready to make a phone call, maybe your dashboard told you to call this person, you can come into their activity and you can filter by custom events. If you've sent them neighborhood news, maybe you want to know how many times you've emailed them. And you can also sort by newest or oldest. So if you want to get a little recon, a little data about that client before making a phone call, as long as you're notating all their activity, it'll be in here for you so that you can then make an intelligent phone call to them. Or perhaps send them an email, whatever it might be that you want to do. Let me just check my notes real quick. All right. Any questions before we move on to neighborhood news? I don't see any in the chat box. All right, good. Well, we're going to back out just for a minute so we can get to something immediately without getting anybody too confused, if it's not too late. So we did just talk about adding activity, and again, you can do that right from this screen. So if you're going through quickly and you don't want to launch into their contact, you can do that quickly from here. Same concept, put in the date, put in what it was, jot down your note, and then click done. You can also send them an email right from here. By clicking on their email, it's going to open this box. Type your message if you want to. You can put an imagery if you want. You can tag it to an outside source if you want, and you can click send. Again, that will notate in that activity string that we just showed you. So quickly ways that you can get to any way you want to contact your client. What it won't do is put it into your sent email in your Gmail. So your email is linked through, great, right? It makes your contacts come over, it syncs with your email. If you're using Engage to send an email, it will not notate in your Gmail sent box, but it does notate it here in the activity field. for that particular client. So again, you can filter however you want. So perhaps you want to set up anybody that, I'm just going to use one of my tags as an example, is Elevate. Maybe yours is PTO, or maybe it's a board that you're on at your church, and you have them categorized, and you can click apply. All of those people will then show up once you click that filter. And then you can select all if you choose to, and you can export that list if you would like to, if you want to utilize that list outside of the system. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this information once it's in there. So we're going to go ahead and launch into one of the contacts. So this is what it will look like. You can do this again from that categorize wizard, but if you don't want to go through that screen, or maybe you've added somebody and you forgot to categorize them, once you launch into their contact card, you always have that opportunity. You can mark them as client or non-client. When you mark them as client, you then can create a marketing plan for them. You can make them a seller prospect or a buyer prospect. So say you said at an open house, a new family came in, they don't have representation, and you want to make them a buyer prospect. So from here, you would click that. And then you can see they went from marketing into prospects. You can then delete or deactivate that transaction. So maybe they couldn't get financing. They're going to come out of your prospects because they're not ready to buy at this time. So you can delete or deactivate that transaction. It'll keep the client, it'll keep all their information, but it will not put them through the pipeline. And again, that's to help you track towards that goal. You can always move them back into the active zone. If at that time they do get the mortgage that they've been hoping for, you can always move them back there. But you can see that's when the tasks will come in here into play. If you chose to make them a seller, a different set of task lists would come in. And I do see a question. And Michelle had a good point. She added a collaborator and it did not update their contact information in her phone like it did for a customer. Michelle, I've not heard that before, so I will definitely make sure that I ask that question. That's a really good question. I was told that it should act the same, but I will definitely find out and I'll get back to you on that, Michelle. Good point. We would hope that it would, because a contact's a contact. So I will find out and get you an answer. Just checking my notes real quick. Okay, so one of the most popular products in Engage, and not just for the Schmidt family of companies, but across all of Moxie, is their product called Neighborhood News. It's one of the most opened and most engaging products that they have. And it can be super simple to set it up. So we are inside our person that we just made a prospect buyer. You want to click on Add Subscriptions. And there's two options here. There's Neighborhood News and there's Listings Announcements. Listings Announcements is nice to add any new person that you put in your sphere, because anytime you get a new listing or anytime you transact on a listing, if you close the listing, that person in your sphere of influence will get an email saying, please look at my new listing, or hey, did you know I just sold this house? So that's what a listing announcement subscription is. So again, it's just about staying top of mind to your sphere of influence so that when they have a referral or when they are ready to transact, that you're top of mind. So that's what listing announcements is. The other option is Neighborhood News. So what's the number one question you get when you're a real estate agent? How's the market? What's the market like? What are house prices doing? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market, right? You get those questions, even from anybody that you meet. As soon as they hear you're in real estate, they're going to ask you about the market. So people are interested, and they're specifically interested either in where they own or where they would like to own. So you can set them up on this Neighborhood News subscription. They'll get the information once a month, and whether they buy next month or in 12 months, you come to their inbox with the data they want every single month, and it's accurate data. It's coming over from your local MLS, so it's not like it's a Zillow estimate or anything. It's actually data from your MLS. And it's pretty ease of use to set these up. So again, we're in our contact card. We want to go to subscriptions, add subscription, and we're going to add Neighborhood News. Two options, quick or custom. So if you met somebody at the grocery store and they're like, hey, I'm just thinking about maybe, I'm renting, I'm thinking maybe I want to buy. Okay, Pretty cold lead, right? But definitely somebody you want to continue to stay engaged with. That could be what you would set them up on a quick. So maybe it's just a postal code. So of course their information will come over here. The zip code, this one came over with a zip code, but of course you can always change that. Maybe they've decided they want to live somewhere else, so you can put in that other zip code. This information pulls in. You can change any of this. You can customize it to your own voice, but if you want to just plug and play, it does fill it in for you. And I'm not going to click done because I don't want to send Vicki some email, but if you click preview, it is pulling data in from the MLS. That's why it does take just a moment. This will pull in, and again, this goes to their inbox every 30 days. It's going to pull in all of the actives, trends in that market for the past 12 months, your median sold prices, your market changes month over month, your median prices, average days to sell, some pretty nice graphics to actually sell that photo or sell the picture of that concept, median sold prices, and of course it's always going to be branded to you as the agent. It also will allow them to contact you. So maybe they got the neighborhood news, ease of use, right? They don't have to go up here and see what your email address is, see what your phone number is. Right here, they can fill this out. I have a quick question, boom, it'll go to you. Not only will it notate it in their activities in Engage, but it's also going to send you a notification. So again, this can be ease of use to set up for data to go out to your clients once a month, and you stay at top of mind and in their inbox. Now, if you have somebody that's a little bit more customized, you can do that as well. So that was simply zip code, just the zip code. If you want to customize the neighborhood news, you click custom. It defaulted to that zip code that I had put in, as you can see here on the map. And we're going to let that finish loading. And it's going to pull in the data from the MLS given what the filters are. So the first one was straight up everything in that zip code. Here is where you can get more granular. Maybe you don't want to do a zip code at all and you want to draw on the map. You can do that too. So delete the zip code, click quick draw. Maybe you want just around the lake. So now anything that's showing up in your neighborhood news will only be what's in this border here. You can do it by price. Maybe you have somebody in a little bit higher end, so you want just 500 to 100 million. It's going to give you just those properties. You can do the same things with bed and bath. Oh, we did price. And then the same thing. Maybe they don't want condo, or maybe they only want condo. You can do square footage as well. So you can really make the neighborhood news a lot more granular to that client if you know exactly what they're looking for. Once you fill in your parameters how you want them, you click next. Again, it pulls over that email address from their contact card. And then you can preview what that's going to look like. So just like the other one that we had, that one had 23, this one only has 6 because it is a lot more granular information, but you can see it's the same data. Market changes, month over month, median prices, all of that information, and then again, always contact back to you. So that's what the actual report looks like. This is what the email looks like to them. So when they click on view full report, this is on the right what they're going to get. This is what the email that's sent to them will look like. So it tells them the parameters that you chose for them, gives you the top new listings that come over, again, from the MLS, so it's actual true market data. And then it will give you trends in the surrounding market. There are none in this because it's a very granular area, and then market changes as well. So just a lot of data, and again, the email itself is always going to be branded to you as the agent. When you set these up, it sends immediately that day and then every 30 days. So if I set this up today, November 3rd, on December 3rd, they're going to get another email with current up-to-date data fed over from the MLS. Again, Moxie tracks the usage of this information, and it is one of their most not only opened emails, but it's one of their most interactive emails where people are clicking through to listings. They're going to your websites. They're sending information back. So it's a really good tool to use to communicate with your sphere of influence, that you stay top of mind to them. And again, we're in a contact card, and we went down to subscriptions, and then we had those two options. We had, let me close that. When you're in subscriptions, you have those two options. You have the listing announcement and you have the neighborhood news. And again, if you're not ready to get your sphere in there yet, add somebody, add yourself maybe, and set up some of these products so that when you receive them, you know exactly what they look like. So other than Michelle's question, which is a fantastic question about collaborator versus customer, I'm going to kind of recap here for some of those that may have came in late, and then let me know if you have any questions. Do know that we do have our Moxie 201 that will kind of go over what we just went through. It'll deep dive a little bit more into tasks. It'll deep dive into the MLS and dot loop integration, and it'll go over the campaigns. So the campaigns, to quickly touch on that before we recap, these are the campaigns that will go out at a cadence. Some of them are holiday based, some of them are based on when you enter them. So if it's a new lead, they may get an email right away, then in 7 days, then in 14 days. So we have these customized campaigns that you can then add to your contacts, to your sphere of influence. Just one more way to stay top of mind. The holiday one is super popular, of course, right? You send them a holiday card, whether it's Christmas or Easter or New Year's. There's a good seasonal maintenance one. We just added a fall back one, which I believe is at the top. We gain an hour this weekend. Yay, who doesn't like an extra hour of sleep? So all of these campaigns can be added to your clients, and MoxiEngage 201 will deep dive that a little bit further. But if you want to jump in there and see what's available, you can come right here to campaigns. Your dashboard will track the campaigns that you have set up so that you can quickly get back and see what kind of marketing that you are doing. And I do have another question. George, at this time, it does not sync with ColdwellBanker.com emails. However, Realogy has also purchased Moxie. Schmidt Family Companies hired that Moxie as our vendor first, but Realogy has since come on board. So we are being told that ColdwellBanker.com, which is a Microsoft product, will be able to sync to Moxie sometime in early 2022. We're pretty excited about that opportunity because it does give us one more email in which we can sync. And for those of you that operate with ColdwellBanker.com, it should be an opportunity in Q1 of 2022. But right now, today, it does not. If you're using the product with a different Gmail and you decide you do eventually want to move over to ColdwellBanker.com when it's available, we can do that for you. It will resync your Engage, upload your new contacts that come over from ColdwellBanker.com, but it will be an opportunity in the near future. So that's a great question. But as of today, as it stands, only Gmails. So I do have my chat box open in case there's more questions, but to recap, we started in the upper end corner and went to my account. We made sure that all of our contact info, our bio, our headshot, all of that's up to date, because it feeds not only our products and Engage, but it also feeds Present and our websites. And again, the camera there to change your headshot, the pencil to update your information. Then we talked about our single sign-on opportunity and our links to our other vendor lists, like our CB Desk, CBC Desk, DSigns, and then the schmidtresources.com embed here. So that's our hub, that's our one-stop shop right there. And then we jump straight into Engage, which is not only our CRM, our client relationship management tool, it also helps us track our goals, and it helps our managers track our goals as well. So again, our dashboard right here is kind of like our personal assistant. It gives us our 5 people to call a day or just reach out. Maybe it's not a phone call. Right from here, you can set them up on neighborhood news, and you have those both options. You can do quick or custom. So once you've contacted that person, set them up on a neighborhood news, maybe you send them an email, whatever it might be. You've done that for the day, do 5 a day, you'll be good to go. Again, your calendar will sync over, your activity feed as you send out neighborhood news and such, it'll let you know what your clients are doing. Always good, be like, hey, okay, that person opened that email, come up here, oh, I have to contact them. Now I know exactly what to say to them, right? I saw you got the neighborhood news. Do you have any questions for me on it? So it can be really good information for you to just pop in once a day and take a look. And then we talked about our goals and how that does come over directly from our MLS to help track our goals. And again, this is GCI goals, but if you have an income goal in mind, easy enough to back out to a GCI goal. And your managers can help you with that. If you're not quite sure how to do it yourselves, your managers can help you with that. And then we jumped over to people, and we talked about our overview, which is another way that you can go through and set up subscriptions for people if you choose, because it's always going to track your sales flow. You can add people from this screen. You can add people from this screen. Or if you go into My People, you can add people from this screen. And again, that's individual clients that you can add. To bulk upload your clients, you do want to go over to Google Contacts, create contact, create multiple contacts, upload that CSV file, and then that will sync over directly to your Moxie. And depending on how many contacts you have in there, it can take a little bit. It could take an hour. If you have 1,000 contacts, it could take 2 to 3, 4 hours. But again, if you're having any problems with your sync emails, just reach out and let us know, and we can work with the help desk to get that done. So I don't see any more questions, so I appreciate the time today. Like I said, MoxiEngage 201 is tomorrow. I believe it is at, let's see, it's at 1 o'clock tomorrow, just like it was today. So join us tomorrow for a deeper dive into neighborhood news, a deeper dive into campaigns. And as always, visit our Schmidt Video Classroom for the recordings of these. And if you have any questions, reach out after the fact. Appreciate your guys' time today. Thanks so much. Bye now.